Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Another little tutorial we're finishing off assistance with how to get started on VATSIM. So if you've not already checked it out, make sure you check out the how to get started on VATSIM tutorial mini-series on the channel, and we'll work through all the different phases of flight on that tutorial and what you would likely say and do whilst connected to VATSIM. If you're new to the channel, then join us as a frequent flyer. Make sure you click that subscribe button down below. And if you found the video particularly useful, then please consider clicking the like button too. So, today's theme is all about Unicom and what we need to do and how we need to manage it. So ordinarily we would be on the VATSIM network itself, and if we're on the ground and there's no controllers on at all, nobody covering the airport we're spawned at, then we would connect to Unicom and use that. And we would need to tune the aircraft frequency to 122.8. Make sure that goes into the active box. That would then give us the ability, once connected on VATSIM, to either transmit on Unicom via the usual methods with our push to talk button, or type in the chat box in vPilot and send a text message out instead to announce our position. So before we start to go through the different phases of flight, always remember to add the airport name and traffic to the start of your radio messages. So throughout this video that you're watching, whenever you hear a transmission example, make sure you add the airport that you're at in front of it each and every time. For example, if you're at Manchester and you're going to depart on runway 23 right, you would call up Manchester traffic, British 548, departing runway 23 right on a Samba 1 Romeo departure. If you're at Changi and you're going to push back from your stand, Singapore for example, you could call up Changi traffic, British 458, stand 45, push and start facing south, and so on. This is because it's a general channel for everybody in the vicinity of you, and everybody in that vicinity will hear you transmit and could easily get confused as to what airport you're referring to. So remember, always state the airport at the start of every transmission. So we're going to split this up into different sections. So focusing on ground first and up to takeoff. When you're on stand and everything is ready to go, and you would ordinarily look for pushback with a controller, on Unicom you could just announce something similar to British 548 at stand 45, push and start facing south, or whatever direction you'll be facing. Making sure that you're not pushing into any aircraft taxiing past you at that point as well, of course. They push back and start your engines as you would usually, and when ready to taxi you'd announce that. So you'd state where you're taxiing to. For example, British 548 taxiing to runway 20 centre, hold point Echo 1 via Victor Lima Papa Echo. And that tell every other aircraft on the ground where you're heading to and what route you're using to get there. So then you just make your way there. Make sure, of course, you look around for other aircraft whilst taxiing. They might be on a similar route. And then at the hold point, as we are currently, you'd look to see if anybody's on finals. And when ready for departure, you'd announce British 548 departing runway 20 centre on a Masbo 2 Echo departure, or whatever standard instrument departure you're going to be using. And then you'd go park brake off and get going. But what if it's busy? So if, for example, you're in a queue and you've got another aircraft lined up ahead of you who's departing and nobody else is on finals, then you could announce that you're going to line up and wait runway 20 centre. And that would then allow the other aircraft to depart ahead of you, and you would line up on the threshold and wait. So if you're departing with aircraft on finals, or you're waiting to depart in sequence and nobody else is on finals, you could announce that you're going to line up and wait runway 20 centre, at which point you'd allow the aircraft ahead of you to depart, and once they're rolling, you'd go ahead and taxi onto position near the threshold, ready for your turn in sequence to depart. If you're waiting at the hold point as we are today, and someone has said that they're on finals for runway 20 centre, you could turn around and say British 548 holding at Echo 1 runway 20 centre, and that would tell them that you're aware of their arrival and you're holding position at the correct hold point for the runway, so you don't get in the way. If you're departing with aircraft on finals or waiting to depart in sequence, once you're airborne, it's a good idea to let them know that you're passing 1,000 foot. So you could announce British 548 airborne passing 1,000 and then continue on your route. And that would then allow everybody else to manage themselves thanks to your little position report there too. And that's it for ground Unicom, up to departure. Remember to keep it simple. Some pilots just use the text function when on Unicom, but others like myself use voice all the time for quick simple position reports, and it helps everybody else out around you too. During the cruise, during your climb out, you wouldn't need to use Unicom for any reason, so it'd pretty much be a silent channel up until you are thinking about arriving. What about circuits then? So if you're in a GA aircraft, or if you're deciding to do a circuit in a Boeing 747 or anything else, you'd simply just announce the relevant position in your circuit pattern as you fly it, as you would do with the tower. So if you're flying left downwind, for example, you'd announce with your call sign something like British 548 left downwind, and so on. So arrivals then. You're entering a star and you're descending through it ready for your arrival at whatever airport you're going to be flying into. If it's really busy and you can see other aircraft reporting their positions inbound to the same airport as yourself, you could go ahead and announce your position too, so they know where you are. For example, if you're flying into Gatwick on a Kunav 1 Golf arrival and you're inbound on the star descending to pass Timber at 7,000 feet as it's shown on the charts, you can say something similar to Gatwick traffic British 458 inbound on a Kunav 1 Golf arrival descending 7,000 feet level by Timber. If it's busy and there's an aircraft on a similar route or a similar position and you decide to assist in separation and you decide you're going to enter the hold at Timber, you can announce Gatwick traffic British 458 entering the hold at Timber. When you're exiting the hold, a quick position report to say you're exiting the hold at Timber too. Beyond that, of course, you'd commit on and establish your ILS approach, and you'd announce something similar to Gatwick traffic British 458 established on the ILS runway 26 finals to land. And that tells everyone else you're on the ILS and you're on your long final approach to land at the runway. If there's aircraft on the ground waiting to depart, of course, they will be able to judge at that point whether or not they've got time to take off or if they need to wait at the hold point. And you'd proceed as normal. You've told everybody you're landing. If you're going to go around for any reason, announce it like you would normally too. So fly the aeroplane first, and when you can, Gatwick traffic British 458 going around. You might have to do this if someone on the ground isn't listening properly and taxis onto the runway while you're on short finals, for example. But remember the principles in my go around tutorial. Fly the plane first, aviate, navigate, then communicate. So what about other approaches? You'd announce them as you would normally as well. So if you're flying a VOR DME arc, you would announce that you're flying the VOR DME arc, for whichever runway and airport you're inbound. If it's an RNAV approach, again the same principles. You'd announce that you're inbound on an RNAV approach for whatever runway at whatever airport. So keep it simple. After landing, announce that you vacate the runway if it's busy, just to help other people around you, with a brief message afterwards to say you're taxiing to the gates, and that's usually sufficient. So something like Manchester traffic British 458 runway vacated, taxi to gates, and that's it. Remember to keep it simple. If you're using the text chat function instead of voice, remember to keep it brief, and remember as well on text chat that you don't need to type your call sign in because it displays it automatically for you. And that's it. Remember to keep it simple. I hope you enjoyed the short tutorial explaining the basics of using Unicom on VATSIM. Remember the frequency that you will need is 122.800. Remember to join me as a frequent flyer while you're here by clicking the subscribe button down below as well, and be sure to check out my VATSIM tutorial playlists to help you get started on the network. And as always, remember, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. Let me know if you found it useful and how you get on as well in the comments too. See you soon for another live stream in the very near future, and in the meantime, enjoy your time on VATSIM.